Mars goes retrograde December 6, 2024 at 3:33 p.m. Pacific Standard Time at 6 degrees Leo, 10 minutes. Now, Mars only goes retrograde once every 2 years, so this is kind of a biggie. Not like Mercury that goes retrograde 3 times a year for 3 weeks. Mars will be about 6 to 8 weeks, and it'll be going direct on February 23rd at 17 degrees Cancer. Now for me, Mars in retrograde has kind of been sort of a bit of a drag. Again, check out your own feelings here. Because that slowdown of that masculine do-it energy can be frustrating and aggravating. So if you can't make yourself do it, whatever it is, clean the oven or whatever, don't beat up on yourself. Your energy is just kind of being back and forth over this retrograde. Now another biggie is that Mars is going to be opposing Pluto. And here we've got the two rulers, the ancient and the modern ruler of Scorpio. The god of war in Mars, the god of the underworld in Pluto, and they're kind of duking it out here. And that was exact November 3rd, January 3rd, and again here on April 26th. So this is going to be quite the conflict here. And since it's around our U.S. election times and certifications and stuff, I'm really curious to see how this one goes. Now, another transit that I want to mention, but it's pretty quiet, is on December 7th, Neptune goes direct. Now, Neptune is a ruler of Pisces and is in Pisces, so I'm super hoping that this confusion and misunderstanding we've been working with will calm down when Neptune goes direct. But it's also a great time to get in touch with our inner spirituality and also what makes us beautiful. So get some beauty treatments. And finally, Venus goes into Aquarius also on December 7th. So Venus is going from Capricorn for Christmas presents. Venus and Capricorn is like, just give me the money, cash please. Whereas in Aquarius, they're going to be more excited about technology, anything that's kind of eccentric and quirky, and also presents that are tend to the humanitarianism. So gifts in their name and that sort of thing will be very popular too. So, and then just a few hours later, Venus is going to conjunct Pluto in Aquarius. So I'm looking at this as a real trigger to tell us more about what Pluto in Aquarius is going to be like. So thanks everybody. And if you want to know more, just check out the extended version. Bye! Mwah, mwah, mwah. Hello everybody, and thank you so much for coming back to the Magical Mystery School. So this is going to be the expanded version of the Mars in retrograde short, and there is just so much going on. This is like super crazy, even for just regular astrology. So we're also going to be talking about basically December 4th through December 7th. We got so much going on. So what I'm trying to do is to just give you like little pieces at a time, so that you can start to combine these pieces into and relate it to your own chart and what's happening in your own life, basically. So I think that the easiest thing to do is to just go down. We can look at the chart so that you can get that visual learning too. All right, see you in a bit. Okay, so here we go with just our generic wheel with Aries on the first house, and then our horizon line and our vertical here. So the first thing I want to do is just do a quick review on the Mercury retrograde. And because remember that Mercury retrograde is basically just going back and forth through the sign of Sag. So Sagittariuses, you are all feeling this for sure. You're feeling a little confusion, maybe things aren't going on time right, car troubles, neighborhood little issues, misunderstandings, that kind of thing. But it's not just Sages. Remember, all the mutable signs are affected by this. So we've got mutable fire, Sag, mutable air, Gemini, mutable earth, Virgo, and mutable Pisces, or water, Pisces. So all four of those signs are going to be feeling this in the most more acute way, I would say, a little bit more difficult. Okay, now the other thing we talked about was that Jupiter is down here in Gemini, and it's opposing this sun Mercury. So here's this card, and feel free to take a screenshot of this so you can see that Mercury opposed, let's get some focus here. Mercury opposed Jupiter on November 18th. Then Mercury went retrograde on the 25th, and then it's going to oppose, Mercury's going to oppose Jupiter again on the 4th. And then Mercury will go direct on the 15th, and then it'll do its last opposition on December 26th. So again, during these times, and here we're seeing that December 4th date, one of the other things with Jupiter opposing Mercury, we can kind of let our mouths go off. Because remember, Jupiter is the planet of expansion, right? So just be a little bit aware of what you're saying, and maybe don't get too expansive. I know sometimes Sagittarius can always stretch the truth a little bit, but maybe, try to keep it under control here for sure. Okay. Now the other thing too that's part of this opposition is that over here in Pisces, we've got Saturn hanging out at about 12 degrees Pisces. So again, that's right smack in the middle of Pisces. So all of you guys, Pisces, are already feeling this a little bit heavier, a little bit more like, solid. You can't quite get off the ground like you're used to. Pisces are, pretty spiritual, woo-woo type people. And here we've got Saturn, the great earth sign here, bringing us down to earth a little bit. But here again, you can see that T-square. Oops. Well, we'll just let the bell go here. And here we'll see, but with that T-square and the mutable signs, the energy of this T-square is going to be headed out towards Virgos. So any Virgos are going to have a little bit of an owie here and a little bit extra confusion. And again, look at where what houses these are happening in your own chart, because that will give you more clues about what's coming up. Is this Jupiter over in the 1st house or the 10th house or the 8th house? Which house is it? And each, as you can see, each house, 1 through 12, has a sign on it, and the attributes to each one of these signs color that house. So if you find your Sun Mercury here in the 7th house, okay, 6th, 7th, the Libra house, if you find that Sun Mercury in there, you're going to be having more issues with your partnerships than you are possibly at work or something like that. Okay. All right. So trying to just keep this down to so that you can start to apply this to yourselves. Now, of course, the big one we want to talk about right now is that Mars is in Leo. Okay, and going retrograde. So it starts out at 6 degrees here, and then it's going to go back into Cancer. And Mars, like I said, Mars in Leo, or Mars going retrograde, is always kind of, frustrating for me, because that Martian energy is kind of being put on the back burner a little bit. So just be aware that, usually Mars moves about 1 degree every 2 days as it goes around the wheel. Right now, it's spending a week at 1 degree. So remember, the slowest moving planets are always the most powerful. So when a planet goes retrograde, it's basically stopped up there in the sky and direct, so that that becomes even more powerful to us. So the glyph I want you to look for in your own chart, this is the Leo glyph. That always makes me think of the lion's mane. And so you want to see, where is that Leo? Where is that retrograde happening for you in your own chart? If it's, and if it is over here in the 1st house, if you're a Leo rising, you may think, oh, if I'm angry inside or seething about something, nobody can tell. Yeah, like no. If you've got this Mars retrograde going in the first house, people are going to see you see what's inside your heart more than you can even imagine sometimes. But the good thing about a Mars retrograde is it does allow us to rethink things and re-strategize. Because remember, Mars is the god of war, so he does need strategies and that kind of thing. So it can help you rethink how you want to do things. And maybe, and again, depending on what area of your life this is in. Now, also, when this Mars retrogrades into Cancer, Mars is actually in its fall in Cancer, so it's very uncomfortable. I mean, Cancer, we think of the mother, nurturing, if you fall down, she want to kisses your boo-boo and all that kind of stuff. It's a very loving, warm, embracing sign. It wants to cook all the Thanksgiving meals and all that kind of thing. Well, when Mars gets in there, this is the kind of mom that's like, oh, you fell down and bumped your knee? What's wrong with you? How did that happen? It's a much more negative, critical type energy with Mars in there. So just beware of that as that comes up too. Now, as I said, probably the biggest thing I want to point, or one of the biggest things I want to point out, there's so many things going on, is that, Pluto has just gone into Aquarius, right? So it's just I don't even think it's at 1 degree yet. I think it's still in the minutes, zeros. But anyway, Mars is opposing that. And when it goes backwards, it's going to actually oppose that Mars. And I've got that. You can take a screenshot of this if you like too, just to show you. November 3rd is when the first time Mars opposed Pluto. December 6th is the retrograde. January 3rd is the second opposition. February 23rd, Mars goes direct, and then the final opposition is April 26th. And as I said, all of these, I'm trying to get this in better focus, but maybe that's as good as it's going to do. Probably because there, that's nice. Okay, feel free to get a screenshot of that before I lose it. Okay. So just to give you those dates that you can mark on your calendar, because part of what I'm really wanting you to do is to start to get a feel for, oh, what did Mars and Leo feel like? What happened in my life, or what did I do? That kind of thing. Okay, so now Mars opposed Pluto. This is a big power opposition here for sure. We've got the individual, Mars and Leo is all about me, kind of. Oh, sorry, don't mean to insult. Aries is me too, but Leo feels very much like the king, very regal. Don't mean to be negative there. And Pluto up here in Aquarius is much more of the, well, does the group want to do? What do that sort of thing. So we've got a little bit of the individual versus the group, or the power structure. So this is a great time for you to get in touch with that inner power inside of you, and also find out where you feel sensitive, because when you start to get your feelings hurt with this Saturn opposed Pluto, or Saturn, excuse me, Mars opposed Pluto, you can find out why you're feeling hurt. Why does that bother you so much? Because Pluto is a planet, when it comes into an area of your life, it's showing you what you don't want to look at. So this is a good time to find those things out. So be prepared, especially if you're one of these early in these fixed signs. So Leo, fixed fire; Aquarius, fixed air; Scorpio, fixed water; Taurus, fixed earth. And notice those are, they're in square to each other, all four of these. So, and they're also, notice that the fixed signs are the middle houses. So if you've got something going on in any of these middle houses, it's going to have the flavoring. Like if it's happening up here, it's going to have a flavor of a Scorpio type energy. Okay. What else about Mars opposed Pluto here? Just try to be as positive as you possibly can. If you start finding yourself getting kind of into fear, or you're wanting to push people around, that's another biggie for this opposition Pluto-Mars, is wanting to come into, say, a meeting or a family situation and just take over and be the boss. If you feel yourself getting that kind of urge, you might get a lot of resistance, A, but B, it might be a time for you to step back and maybe rethink that a little bit, because this Mars retrograde is going to be coming back and forth, 3 times. So you're going to get some opportunities to learn these lessons, 3 big ones. Another thing, too, with Mars and Pluto in opposition, Mars in the ancient astrology was considered a malefic, and so is Saturn. And I would probably, even though it wasn't around in those days or wasn't known about, would be too. Just be aware of your surroundings, where you're going, who you're talking to, that kind of thing, because this Mars Pluto can bring some violence or some uncomfortable situations into your life. So just be aware of that. Don't get yourself in trouble, in other words. Okay. The other biggie that I really want to point out is that good old Venus. Oh, I shouldn't forget here, little Neptune. Neptune is also going direct on December 7th, and it's right at the end of Pisces. So Neptune rules Pisces, and it's in Pisces, and it's going to be going direct. It's been retrograde for like the last 6 months. So I am really hoping that with Neptune going direct and Saturn in Pisces, that maybe we'll have some more clarity. I don't know, maybe I'm hoping against hope. Maybe I'm being too optimistic here, but I am hoping that we will get some more clarity, basically. Neptune, and just for your FYI, will go into Aries, which is going to be a humongous shift, late March of 2025. Okay. Now, the last thing I want to bring to your attention is good old Venus here. Venus on December 7th is also going right into Aquarius. So, and literally just a couple of hours after it goes into Aquarius, it's going to be conjuncting Pluto. So just be aware that not only is Venus changing what we want for Christmas and what we like and what we're attracted to, our feeling kind of nature, that sort of thing. With that conjunction to Pluto, there could be some real passionate experiences. It could be, you might be surprised who you meet, that sort of thing. So just remember that's a real possibility with Venus and Pluto conjunct. So again, that December 4th through December 7th especially, don't be afraid. Like I used to always tell my students when they would go study abroad or something like that, don't be afraid, just be smart. So think about what you're doing, for sure. Okay, and just to let you know too, Venus and Mars will be opposing one another on December 12th, but that's for another time. And the other thing I wanted to point out, that this Venus will be triggering Pluto in Aquarius. Just remember, any of these planets, any planet at all, when it changes signs, because Pluto is so right there at the very, very beginning of Aquarius, and it's such a slow mover. For the next couple of months, anytime any planet changes a sign, it's going to be probably aspecting Pluto on some level. And of course, Aquarius, the fixed signs are that square, a little bit more difficult. Aquarius is air. So Libra and Gemini that are air, that'll be a trine, so more smooth flowing energy. And then we also look at Sag and Aries as two fire signs on either side of this Aquarius axis here, as being their fire signs, but they make that 60-degree or sextile aspect. So that can be a little bit easier, a little bit smoother flowing. Okay, well, I think I've gone over this enough, and I hope you've been able to pick up enough info that you can start to look at your own chart and say, oh, yeah, I can see where that Leo is. I can see where Mars is going to be messing around with me. I can see where this Aquarius is and where Pluto is right at the beginning and that kind of thing. Okay, so just remember, from there to here, from here to there, funny things are everywhere. And we'll see you next time. Bye.